Hello. Alright. Hola. So, let me do an asshole. Mukbang. Right? Tell me about that. Now, the fact that I was actually amazing. Is now the thing is that I'm thinking straight through what? The fact is, yeah, this is what we're here to eat. I'm shocked. Alright, now another thing. Okay, this happened right after the juice down video. Okay, and I think I'll show you this. For and force us to divide our nation in a time of national peril. The hour is here. Right. I'm in stealth mode. I can see you guys. You can see you can't see my eyes. So, alright guys. Bruh, that's it. No, that's it. Much better. This looks good. Alright. I don't want to bring this so high. Let's practice. Yeah, this looks good.
Moments where they decide to go and turn in their draft card and invite
Wait a bit.
prosecution.
Hold up. That was fine.
And
With this legal movement.
Grace.
Ooh.
I
Yes.
grew up in Fresno, California.
Yes, I am.
Fresno High School Boy of the Year, 1963.
Now,
Came to Stanford on a scholarship.
this makes this good. It's actually
Registered for the draft when he turned 18, and I did that, without a second thought, really.
We were all spawned of the Second World War, where America was so great. But this in Vietnam seemed to be a betrayal of all that.
very
It was a full evolution from patriotism to a stance of resistance against a very ugly, vicious, amoral war.
I felt really good about returning my draft card and making the decision to resist it no matter what. And so at that point in time, I knew I was going to go to prison. I mean, I knew it.
I was an all-American kid. I loved the country. I played left field for, Garden Grove Little League baseball team, but other than that, I was never lefty. I was a frat boy. I was a ball player. You play USC, you run out of the field, there's 100,000 people in the stands, in the stadium. It's just the energy. You're not even touching the ground. You're flying. It's quite a moment. At the same time, at the same moment, 50,000 Marines were hitting the beach at Cameron Bay. If we're really at war, I'm an American and a patriot, and it challenged me. It called into question where I belong, what I should be doing.
This is the only American channel
that was brought to our front rooms on the television, so there's no excuse.
TV was very instrumental in influencing how I felt about the war, documenting horrendous footage of fetus burning.
Now, this guy lit himself on fire because of this? What's going on here?
And that famous picture of where the police chief was shooting the guy in the head. And
the young girl with the napalm on her back screaming, running down the road, It's like...
This is actually messed up.
We dropped more bombs on Vietnam than we dropped all of it.
That was messed up. There was a little girl right there from the war. What? That's messed up. Bro, what is this? Algeria English.
outbreaks and very effectively as well. But
Yeah,
we've
but
also been
that was
speaking
messed up.
to health workers, like the director of this hospital, who says the biggest concern would be awareness, because there's still a lot of stigma associated when it comes to diseases like Ebola.
Ebola.
Unfortunately, after the death,
It's like
we knew from the people who brought him here, 4 of the family members passed on of a similar presentation on symptoms and signs. Of course, if the relative or the attendant have told us, we would take more precautions and we would take more steps to easily think of this outbreak or of this disease. But unfortunately, they didn't. And it is a bit warning and alarming to the public. When you have such cases or such symptoms, please don't hide. It will not benefit anybody. We'll still attend to your patient. We'll still do whatever we can do. We have precautions we take as medical worker to deal. But for your safety and welfare, please don't hide anything.
We've been speaking to organizations like MSF and Red Cross, and also the government, who are now deploying health workers to those border points to make sure that people are protected. But we also know that the border there has not been closed yet, but the government is saying that it's keeping a very close eye on the situation.
Catherine, many thanks for that. Al Jazeera's Catherine Soyner in Kampala. Ebola was first discovered in the 1970s and is thought to have spread from fruit bats. Since then, about 15,000 people have died from Ebola in African countries. Juliet Eger takes a look.
An Ebola outbreak has been declared in the Democratic Republic of Congo's eastern Ituri province. Ebola is a highly contagious virus once symptoms begin. Treatment is possible, but the average fatality rate is 50%. Now, Ebola is spread through direct contact with the bodily fluids of an infected person or animal. Symptoms typically appear 2 to 21 days after exposure. Early signs can include high fever, headaches, severe muscle pain, and fatigue, while advanced stages can lead to multi-organ failure, internal or external bleeding. The Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says it's recorded hundreds of suspected cases. The new outbreak is mainly concentrated in Mongwalu and Rampara, gold towns where the movement of workers makes it difficult to control transmission. Neighboring Uganda has already confirmed at least one Ebola death, in a case authorities say came from the DRC. And the affected areas are close to South Sudan's borders, as you can see here, and health officials are concerned about the risk of further spread. Armed conflicts in this region are causing waves of displacement. It's hindering testing and vaccine deployment. Ebola first emerged in the DRC in 1976, and there have been 17 outbreaks since. The deadliest was between 2018 and 2020, which killed nearly 2,300 people. To prevent casualties on that scale from happening again, the Africa CDC says it's holding high-level meetings with health authorities from DRC, South Sudan, and Uganda to reinforce cross-border surveillance, preparedness, and response efforts.
Earlier, my colleague Anna Burns-Francis spoke to Dr. Marie-Rosaline Belizier, who is an emergency doctor with the WHO Africa and a specialist in epidemiology, public health and infectious disease outbreaks. She outlines the challenges containing this outbreak.
In WHO, we are very concerned about the ongoing Ebola outbreak actually declared in the Ituri province. We are concerned for several reasons. The first one is that you mentioned the Ituri province share international borders with Uganda and South Sudan. I'm sure you already know that Uganda notified 2 confirmed cases of Ebola linked to the outbreak in Ituri. But Ituri province also share borders internally. And one of them is in North Kivu, with the capital of Goma. And in North Kivu, as you know, the population is about 9 to 10 million of inhabitants. And they also share border with South Kivu, which population is 8 to 8.5 million inhabitants. That means this is one of the concerns. The other concern we also have is that Ituri province is plagued with militias, with rebels. Not on, 3 weeks ago from April, last day of April to start in May, we have 180 civilians that has been killed in this province. And from January to now, more than 879 civilians have been killed. So we also have an internal displaced population based on this insecurity that is ongoing. In Ituri province, we have more than 1.5 million people living in a very difficult and vulnerable condition as internal displaced population. Other factor that justify our concern is the movement, the population movement between through the international borders, but also internally. The Ituri province is very connected with Uganda. Mostly people in Ituri, they go to seek for health care in Uganda. This is a common, and they have all activities together. The population movement is very high, and the density of the population also is high. Other concern that we also have, this zone is that we have a lot of mines. That is also a very high trade activities in this region. So all those make this outbreak very concerning. As you know, the outbreak has been detected weeks after it started. That's said in community we have deaths that we don't know what they have. So the extent of this outbreak can be bigger for the picture that we have now.
But my understanding is then that there are so many different complicating factors that affect how you will respond to this on the ground. But the other side of the equation has to be getting help there. And we know that the United States has fully withdrawn from the World Health Organization. With it goes billions and billions of dollars. So I'm wondering what impact you think that will have on health organizations' ability to respond to this outbreak.
Because the working at the ground is already started. Our team was already in the ground since they received the alert. Since on 9th of May, we have a team in the ground to support the sample collection and the sample transportation to Kinshasa in order to have the confirmation of that outbreak. The first samples came negative. That was also another challenge from the laboratory in Bunia. So that's a response that is led by the government, but also with the community. The basic things that we need to know is that any outbreak starts in the community and will be ended in the community. If we put in place some measures involving the community on how to protect themselves, we can control that outbreak. We're also working with partners. There is no single organization that can respond alone to this outbreak or to any other emergency. So we are really coordinating with all our partners in the UN system. We have a one UN response that is already ongoing. This morning, with the WFP plan, we will lead to Bunia for the first 18 tons of material for the response that will be delivered in order to pick up.
It's very reassuring that you have so many opportunities to put plans in place to tackle this from the beginning. I'm just wondering, though, you are there next week. Is there anything in particular that you are concerned about what you will find when you arrive?
My first concern is the trust in the community. Because, this community has been affected before by an Ebola, and for which there is a vaccine. Now it's important that we inform that community that for this substance of Ebola, there is no vaccine. It is one of my concerns that the community...
So messed up, bro.
Craco, orașul Fant.
Lucruri gen
următorii statul fu
Not impossible.
tip medic.
So break up. Back to the thing. Don't look at the road. Are you okay? Someone laughing. I understand. I just. Ah, shit. What the fuck? Man, get the fuck out of This is dangerous.
One of the true highlights of being on the Belle Epoque is dinner, and we get 4 courses every night. Head chef Leo cooks for us. The food is exquisite. It really is. Lobster, quail, duck.
Just keep going, but
it's truly special. And one dish that I love so much is actually a simple entree.
Sat down with
There's so much flavour in it, and you're going to show me the secrets of how to make it.
Yeah, with the smoked pea tartar that you had.
I love all the colours here and the smell of this cheese. But before we talk about the cheese, how do we make the little tart shells?
So the first thing to do is to brush the filling with a bit of water.
Phyllo pastry.
Yeah.
And why do you brush it with water?
Just about
Stick
this.
all together.
Ah, okay.
Make the layers and then.
This is really interesting because when I use phyllo pastry at home, I use butter. So water's a nice little option.
And I'm just gonna put a bit of oil in it.
Okay. Just olive oil.
This one is a herb oil, but you can do it with olive oil, any oil.
See, it's those little tricks, and they are just not olive oil.
And what we're gonna do, put it in the middle.
So that's just 2 or 3 layers? 3 layers, and that's the first.
And then press it in between. Very good.
So you get a perfect shell every time. Okay. And how did you become the chef here on the barge?
I had the opportunity to come on barges, and then when I started, meeting the guests, seeing really nice places every day, and cooking. And,
Cook some lobster.
yeah, following the seasons.
And Leo, how long do we cook these little pastry shells for?
So we cook them for 12 minutes at 180 degrees.
Fantastic. We'll cook them and then we'll...
Bye. And don't forget to like and subscribe.